The phone call came on November 18th at 2:34 p.m. I was in my office reviewing grant applications when my phone buzzed. I almost didn't answer. Our conversations had become increasingly strained over the past 5 years. But some part of me, the part that still hoped for reconciliation, made me pick up. "Hi, Mom. Catherine." Her voice was clipped. Formal. "I'm calling about Christmas." "Hey. What time should I arrive?" Silence. Then, "Actually, your father and I have discussed it. We think it's best if you don't come this year." I set down my pen. "What? Don't come to Christmas. It's better for everyone." "Better how?" "Catherine, your brother is bringing his fiancée. Your sister is bringing her husband and the twins. This is a family celebration. We want it to be nice, successful, not complicated by your situation." "My situation? What situation is that, Mom?" "You know what I mean. You're 42. Unmarried. No children. Still working at that nonprofit thing. Your brother just made VP at his company. Sarah's husband is a surgeon. Their children are in private school. And you're..." "I'm what?" "You're an embarrassment, Catherine. There. I said it. You're an embarrassment to this family. You made choices that led nowhere. You have nothing to show for your life. And I don't want to spend Christmas explaining to Sarah's in-laws why my middle child is a failure." The words hit like physical blows. "I see," I said quietly. "This isn't personal. It's just realistic. You made your choices. You walked away from a perfectly good career in finance to work at a charity. You turned down marriage proposals from two perfectly suitable men. You chose this life. But that doesn't mean we have to celebrate it." "Hey," I said. "Okay, what?" "Okay, I won't come to Christmas." "Good. I'm glad you understand." "I understand perfectly, Mom." I hung up, sat in my office staring at the wall for 10 minutes. Then I went back to reviewing grant applications. Because 847 children were depending on the Children's Hope Foundation to fund their medical treatments. And my mother's opinion of my life didn't change that. I hadn't always worked in nonprofit. 20 years ago I graduated from Wharton with an MBA. Top 10% of my class. Recruited by Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, McKinsey. Offers ranging from $180,000 to $220,000. I chose Goldman. Investment banking. 80-hour weeks. Deals worth billions. Bonuses that paid for luxury apartments and designer wardrobes. My parents were thrilled. Finally, Mom said at my graduation. A child who's making something of herself. My older brother, James, was already a marketing director at Procter & Gamble. Making $160,000. Successful. Stable. My younger sister, Sarah, was in medical school. On track to become a pediatrician. Mom bragged about her constantly. And I was the investment banker. The one making the most money. The one with the impressive title. For 3 years I lived that life. Manhattan apartment. Expense account. Client dinners at restaurants where entrees cost $85. I wore Armani suits and carried a Prada bag and worked until 2 a.m. reviewing pitch books. I was miserable. Not because the work was hard. I didn't mind hard work. But because it meant nothing. I spent my days helping billionaires get richer. Structuring deals that moved money from one column to another. Creating shareholder value. Maximizing returns. And every night I went home to my empty apartment and wondered what the point was. The breaking point came on a Tuesday in October. I was walking to the subway after a 16-hour day. Exhausted. Carrying a briefcase full of documents I'd need to review before a 7 a.m. meeting. I passed a man sleeping on a cardboard box. Mid-50s. Worn clothes. A sign. Veteran. Hungry. Anything helps. I'd passed him every day for 6 months. Never stopped. Too busy. Too tired. Too focused on getting home. That Tuesday I stopped. "Excuse me," I said. "Have you eaten today?" He looked up. Surprised that someone was talking to him. "No, ma'am." I bought him dinner. Pizza from a place on the corner. 2 slices and a soda. Cost me $8. He cried when I handed it to him. "God bless you," he said. "You're an angel." I wasn't an angel. I was an investment banker who just helped a pharmaceutical company structure a deal that would increase drug prices by 23%. But this man thought I'd done something meaningful. For $8. I went home that night and couldn't stop thinking about it. The math didn't make sense. I'd helped move $400 million in a deal that afternoon. I'd personally made the bank $3 million in fees. My bonus would be $120,000. But I'd never seen anyone cry with gratitude over my PowerPoint presentations. 6 months later I left Goldman Sachs. Took a job at a small nonprofit called Children's Hope Foundation. They funded medical treatments for kids whose families couldn't afford them. Cancer treatments, heart surgeries, transplants. My salary, $52,000. My parents were horrified. "You're throwing away your career," Dad said. "You went to Wharton to work at a charity?" Mom asked. "Do you know how embarrassing that is?" "I'm helping children," I said. "You're wasting your potential," Mom replied. "James is making real money. Sarah will be a doctor. And you're going to be a non-profit worker making poverty wages." "I'm making enough." "Enough for what? You can't even afford to buy a house on that salary." "I don't need a house." "Everyone needs a house, Catherine. Everyone needs stability. You're throwing that away for what? So you can feel good about yourself." "Yes," I said simply. "That's exactly why." She didn't understand. She never understood. That was 17 years ago. In those 17 years, I'd built Children's Hope Foundation from a small organization operating in 3 cities to a national foundation operating in 47 states. When I started, we had 4 employees and a budget of $800,000. We helped 127 children that first year. Now we had 143 employees and a budget of $68 million. Last year alone, we'd helped 8,247 children receive life-saving medical treatment. I'd spent 17 years building something that mattered. I'd written grants, courted donors, spoken at conferences, built partnerships with hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, and medical device manufacturers. I'd negotiated with insurance companies to cover treatments they initially denied. I'd fought with hospital billing departments to reduce costs. I'd sat with families in waiting rooms while their children went through surgery, holding their hands, promising them we'd figure out the money. 3 years ago I'd been promoted to executive director. Salary, $140,000. Not Goldman Sachs money. But enough. 2 years ago, we'd launched an innovative partnership with 6 major children's hospitals. A program that caught complications early and reduced treatment costs by 34% while improving outcomes. 1 year ago that program had been featured in the New England Journal of Medicine. Peer-reviewed research showing that our model saved lives and money simultaneously. 6 months ago, we'd been approached by a major philanthropic foundation. They wanted to donate $15 million to expand our program nationally. I'd spent 6 months negotiating that donation. Working with their team. Proving our impact. Demonstrating how their money would save lives. The donation came through in October. Total amount, $12.4 million. The largest single donation in Children's Hope Foundation history. With that money, we'd expand to serve 15,000 children annually. We'd open offices in 12 new cities. We'd hire 89 new staff members. We'd save an estimated 2,100 lives over the next 5 years. But my mother thought I was an embarrassment. After Mom's call, I didn't tell anyone about Christmas. My colleagues assumed I was spending the holiday with family. I didn't correct them. Christmas Day, I volunteered at a children's hospital in Philadelphia. Played board games with kids who couldn't go home. Read stories to a 7-year-old girl recovering from a bone marrow transplant. Held a newborn in the NICU whose mother was too exhausted to hold him herself. At 8 p.m., I went home to my apartment in Center City. Small. 1 bedroom. Modest. I'd never needed more. I made pasta for dinner. Watched a movie. Went to bed at 10 p.m. It was one of the best Christmases I'd had in years. Because I'd spent it doing work that mattered. With people who appreciated it. My mother's voice echoed in my head sometimes, "You're an embarrassment." But when I looked at the photo on my desk, 8-year-old Marcus, who'd received a heart transplant we funded last year, smiling with his family, I knew the truth. I wasn't an embarrassment. I was exactly where I was supposed to be. The invitation arrived in early December. Children's Hope Foundation had been selected to receive the Humanitarian Impact Award at the annual Children's Hospital Network Gala. The award recognized organizations that had made significant contributions to pediatric healthcare. The gala was scheduled for January 24th at the Bellevue Hotel in Philadelphia. Black tie. 600 guests. Dinner, speeches, and award ceremony. "You're accepting the award," my board chair Margaret said during our weekly call. "This is your achievement, Catherine. You built this organization. It's a team effort." "Catherine, stop being modest. You turned an $800,000 operation into a $68 million national foundation. You secured the largest donation in our history. You've personally overseen programs that have saved thousands of lives. Accept the damn award." I smiled. Margaret was 83 years old. A retired hospital CEO. She didn't tolerate false modesty. "Hey," I said. "I'll accept it." "Good. Wear something nice. And bring a guest if you want." I didn't have a guest. I'd been single for 4 years. My last relationship had ended when he told me I cared more about other people's children than building a life with him. He wasn't wrong. "I'll come alone," I said. "Your family will be there though, right?" "No." "Why not?" "They're not interested in this part of my life." Margaret was quiet for a moment. "Their loss," she finally said. "Our gain." January 24th arrived cold and clear. I spent the morning at the office, finishing reports. At 3 p.m. I went home to get ready. The dress was simple. Navy blue. 4-length. Elegant but not flashy. I'd bought it on sale at Nordstrom for $200. My jewelry was minimal. Pearl earrings my grandmother had given me. A silver necklace I'd owned for 15 years. I looked at myself in the mirror. 42 years old. Unmarried. No children. Working at that nonprofit thing. My mother's words still stung. But tonight I'd be honored for the work I'd spent 17 years building. That had to count for something. I arrived at the Bellevue at 6:15 p.m. The grand ballroom was spectacular. Crystal chandeliers. Round tables with ivory linens. Each table seated 10. Place cards at every setting. I found my table. Table 5. Front section. Reserved for award recipients and board members. Margaret was already there. She stood when she saw me. "Catherine, you look beautiful." "Thank you." "Nervous?" "A little." "Don't be. You deserve this." The other seats at our table filled quickly. Members of our board. Major donors. The CEO of Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. A journalist from the Philadelphia Inquirer. At 6:45 the lights dimmed. Guests found their seats. I scanned the room out of habit. 600 people. Hospital administrators. Foundation directors. Major philanthropists. Medical professionals. And then I saw her. Table 19. Back section. Wearing a burgundy dress I recognized from Sarah's wedding 2 years ago. My mother. She was with a woman I didn't recognize. Mid-60s. Well-dressed. They were laughing about something. My heart started pounding. What was she doing here? Margaret noticed my expression. "You okay?" "My mother is here." "What? Where?" "Table 19. Margaret looked. "The woman in burgundy?" "Yes." "Did you invite her?" "No. I didn't tell her about tonight." "Then how?" The MC took the stage. "Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 23rd Annual Children's Hospital Network Gala. We have an inspiring evening ahead. Dinner will be served shortly, followed by our award ceremony." I couldn't focus on his words. My mother was here. At my event. An event celebrating the work she'd called an embarrassment. How had she even gotten an invitation? Dinner was served. I ate mechanically. Salmon. Asparagus. Roasted potatoes. Margaret kept glancing at me. "Catherine, are you going to be okay for your speech?" "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're pale." "I'm fine," I repeated. At table 19 Mom was eating. Chatting with her friend. She hadn't seen me yet. The room was too large. The lighting too dim. At 8 p.m. the awards ceremony began. Our first award tonight is for innovation in pediatric care. A hospital in Boston won. The administrator gave a speech. Thanked her team. Sat down. Our next award is for medical research excellence. A research team from Johns Hopkins won. More speeches. More applause. My hands were shaking. And now, the MC said, "We come to our most significant honor of the evening. The Humanitarian Impact Award. This award recognizes an organization or individual who has made extraordinary contributions to improving the lives of children facing medical challenges." He paused. "This year's recipient has transformed pediatric healthcare in ways few people fully understand. 17 years ago, she left a lucrative career in investment banking to join a small nonprofit with a budget under $1 million and a staff of 4 people. I could see my mother now. She was paying attention, probably wondering who the recipient was. Under her leadership, that organization has grown into a national foundation operating in 47 states with a budget of $68 million. Last year alone, they provided funding for life-saving medical treatments for over 8,000 children whose families couldn't afford care." Mom's friend leaned over and whispered something. Mom nodded. She personally secured the largest donation in the organization's history, $12.4 million from the Hartwell Foundation, which will allow them to expand their programs and serve 15,000 children annually. The screens behind the stage lit up. My photo appeared. Professional headshot. Below it, Catherine Morrison, Executive Director, Children's Hope Foundation. Her innovative partnerships with major children's hospitals have been featured in peer-reviewed medical journals. Her work has saved an estimated 4,200 lives and prevented millions in unnecessary medical costs. My photo was now on 3 screens. 20 feet tall. Please join me in honoring this year's Humanitarian Impact Award recipient, Catherine Morrison. The room erupted in applause. Everyone stood. I stood slowly. Walked toward the stage. As I passed table 19, I looked directly at my mother. She was frozen, staring at the screens. Her mouth was open. Her friend was staring too. Then she looked down and saw me walking past their table. She grabbed Mom's arm. Whispered something. Mom turned. Saw me. Our eyes met. Her face went completely white. I kept walking. Up the stairs. Onto the stage.